this house in a South Austrian village where Hendrik and Eddie move with their mother. It's peaceful. Hendrik even finds a girlfriend named Ida, but unfortunately, there was a wrench thrown into the plans when some ghosts haunt Eddie because they have a secret they want there to be shown, even if it could have sinister intentions. It turns out to be simple. The Strange House is a Netflix original from Austria, and it's also called aka The Scary House. There's a lot of titles for this. There's also the Austrian title that I'm not going to try to pronounce, like I'm probably going to butcher, directed by Daniel Portraca. I'm certain I had that dish at one point. Written by Marcel Canatel and Tino Lombach. Lombachstein, based on a novel by Martina Wildner. It's a children's book that came out a number of years ago, I think about 9 or 10. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the actors' names, and I'm going to get into spoilers here in a little bit, but I will say as far as a movie, this was fine. It had some atmosphere. The acting certainly wasn't that bad, and if you don't mind subtitles, there are worse ways to spend your time. That being said, the movie's also very simple, doesn't really have a whole lot of scares, and kind of jumps around a whole bunch of places. Maybe they cut some stuff out of this movie, and they just hodgepodge and Human Centipede some clips together and just said, okay, that's good enough. Because it feels like there's stuff missing, while it also feels like there's stuff that they drug out and just stretched out to fill the time. So, yes, Hendrik and his brother Eddie, they're Germans. They are moving, with their mother to a South Austrian villa that's a fixer-upper, shall we say. There is a real estate agent that certainly fancies the mom. She's pretty, so I don't really fucking blame him, but there could be some sinister intentions. Obviously, since they got this house so goddamn cheap and their dad's no longer around, there's some tensions because Hendrik is about, I think, 16 to 18. I don't exactly remember the age, but I think he's supposed to be 16. Eddie's a bit younger with a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair in this movie. And they aren't necessarily welcomed by the villagers because it turns out this house has something that's a little bit, fucked up about it. Obviously, because otherwise, why else would they be getting that? There's a lot of slugs and snails and everything wandering around, and as somebody that doesn't like those kind of creepy crawlies, gross. Fucking hate those things. They're all over the place in Washington during the spring. I loathe them. Why do they exist? I hate them. Anyway, enough of my hatred of that. Eddie is fascinated by them, and there's some good stuff here. As far as the bond between Hendrik and Eddie, that's actually some good camaraderie, and the kid actors aren't that bad. In fact, none of the acting's really that bad. It's just the plot is razor thin. I don't know how, big the book is, so I don't really know how much material there is. But, and considering it is probably in Austrian, I probably would not be able to understand it unless there's an English translation. But it turns out the whole mystery of this is that a mother poisoned her 2 kids years and years ago, and that is why neighbors, including this one neighbor that may know more than she's leading on, has salt trails outside her door because spirits can't cross the salt trail. Hence all the slugs and all the weird stuff and everything. Oh my god, if they cross it, then they're spirits. Maybe. I don't know. Kinda. That seems to be implied. Or they just hate slugs. I don't blame them. And, Hendrik can't ingratiate himself to people really all that much because he's an angsty teen. But he eventually does, he has his mom with his brother, Eddie, and Eddie starts seeing things and drawing weird symbols and everything because he's an impressionable kid. And it turns out that one of these ghosts, one of these kids, is trying to communicate through him. And through a series of events, we find out who was actually behind this thing, which if you've ever seen a movie or ever been outside for 5 minutes, you would have figured this out pretty much from about the first 10 minutes. You wouldn't even need to have all the characters introduced, figure out, oh yeah, that's who the villain is. And it turns out that I was right. Probably because I've seen too many goddamn movies. But there are some good moments. There's Hendrik and the girl Ida, who I swear I've seen in other movies before. Maybe she just looks familiar. But they have a good chemistry. And there's, the teen angst and the stuff, and the kids band together because they want to try to solve this mystery, rewrite history, Austrian DuckTales. Woohoo! Also, there's a cave subplot where the mother is moving and she's going to explore caves. Well, the dad's gone, so she decided to go to the other side. I kid. But anyway, that cave is literally shown in one scene and then is not shown again for a long time. I don't know why they felt the need to do that. Again, stuff that probably got cut out. But when they got, when they get a little more along in the plot, there's this kid named Fritz, who's kind of the nerdy, historian type that knows a lot, despite being so young, knows a lot. And he can tell that Hendrik and Ida like each other. And, of course, he's putting on the Fritz. And I understand that cave was there when, during Austria, during the war. Well, that's just going to get me a whole bunch of hate there. So, the music was not great. The music was very generic. The jump scares were really non-existent. I mean, there were some good moments. The special effects weren't bad. I will say, as far as cinematography, camera work, and, like the technical aspect behind it, it was actually fine. But then it just gets to where, okay, they find out that the neighbor knows something, or maybe doesn't, and then they find out more people know stuff, and then they kind of got to stretch this thing along and just go from scene to scene to scene and do stupid shit to basically advance the plot that kind of goes off the rails. It's pretty much what it is. There's not a lot to The Strange House once it goes along. That being said, it's not horrible, it's just not great. Now, I am going to get into spoilers, so because everything may get wrapped up in a nice bow, maybe not. Because based on a children's book, you don't know. You'll have to find out. But I will say that there are worse ways to spend your time, but I'm going to get into spoilers right now. So, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Okay, so the whole thing about the real estate agent, the guy that told him about the house, he was the villain. It turns out that his mother had an affair with the husband that, that had the wife and the 2 kids that were murdered by the wife. Oh no, wasn't. There was another housekeeper. That was the neighbor. She said, I didn't do anything, and I wasn't there when the kids were there. I wasn't even there. It was Owen. And then we go and find out a little bit more where one of the ghosts Roland possesses Eddie, and then Ralph possesses, Hendrik at one point, because he gets freed from this room. So it turns out one of the kids is good, one of the kids is bad, but also not bad, and they have the black eye thing and whatever, and it's really about it. They kind of just skim over some of the stuff, like they're possessed and they're not. Ida kisses Hendrik to free him from the curse, because who gives a shit? Love conquers all. But yeah, it turns out that, this real estate, I can't even remember the guy's name. I couldn't even pronounce it if I tried. It turns out that that his mother, he's actually the illegitimate child of this of the dad that had, that Mrs. Plosman or Palsman. Her name is Mrs. Palsman. Boy, I screwed that one up. It turns out that he's the illegitimate son, and his mother was wrecked because she just meant to poison the mother and accidentally poisoned the kids as well. So everybody died. Lance Archer's theme was correct. That's pretty much it about there. They do the cave exploring thing at one point where Hendrik and Ida end down there after that guy's chasing them. I just want these love letters back, because they get in the house, they take these love letters, and, it turns out that that's all that's going on, and they end up in the cave. She ends up getting freed because he helps her out, but she can't help him out. Water's filling because it just happens to be the one day in this Austrian village where all the rain is falling on them. Why does it always rain on me? It's because I got to be drowned before the film is 17 minutes from the end. Actually, it's about 7 minutes from the end. Hendrik gets rescued, and it turns out that we find out about the mother, where Eddie is possessed by the kid and says, oh no, you're supposed to be dead. You're dead. You're dead. And then she confesses all the stuff and everything, even though the son's saying, no, you idiot, what the hell are you doing? Don't do that. Don't confess your stuff to a ghostly kid. And that's pretty much it right there. That's it. So everybody's solved, everybody's mystery is solved and everything. The ghosts are happy. Everything's wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow. That's about it. C-. It's not bad. It's simple. I've seen worse. I've certainly seen a lot worse as far as kids' movies that Netflix has done. As far as originals, I'm going to be diving into a whole bunch more movies, so get ready for more movie reviews. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.